Good morning, Missouri HOSA. I'm Kristen Bush,
Hello, I am Rebecca Bolin.
and we're going to run you through some ways if you're a brand new advisor on what you can do to get your chapter started.
Yeah, so Kristen and I have both been HOSA advisors for the last about 6 years or so. She works in St. Louis area and I work in Rolla, which is more rural. So we have a little bit different ideas and opinions and how things work. So we wanted to come together and just provide you guys with some information because becoming a new advisor can be very overwhelming. And there, so much is coming at you at once. So we want to make sure we could kind of get you some good quality information. So as a brand new advisor for a brand new chapter, your first probably goal after getting set up, which I'm assuming you did because you're at this video, is to spread the word. So to be an official HOSA chapter, you have to have at least one advisor, that's you, and at least 5 members to qualify as a HOSA chapter. So how do you recruit your members? You can do announcements at your local school district. If they have like a back to school fair or freshman orientation, setting up a table with some just informational flyers that you make up about when your meetings are or where would be good. If you have a couple students that maybe you had in the past that you could, talk to about HOSA separately and have them come and help recruit with you is usually a good idea. Students like to hear from other students how great of an opportunity it is. HOSA.org, which we're going to show you here in just a little bit, has some videos of like testimonials and recruitment videos for you, as well as Missouri HOSA has those. You could even do quick little 5-minute presentations at the beginning of anatomy and physiology classes, PLTW classes, health science classes. But your biggest thing is spreading the word because you need members to have an active and productive chapter. So I know those are some of the things that I have done to recruit for my chapter. I didn't know if Kristen had any different ideas.
We do about the same. We have a freshman orientation that we hit up. We always go back to our PBS class, which is our first Project Lead the Way class. And my officers will go in there and promote what's going on with HOSA. And then our first kickoff event is a popsicle party. So I buy the little flavor ice popsicles and we usually get a bunch of kids in there. And then I tell my officers the trick is once they're here for the popsicles, you've got to hook them and want them to come back for our next meeting.
Perfect. Great idea. And not too expensive. Popsicles aren't going to break the bank. So that's good stuff. So really just spread the word, get kids excited. It's student led. So, you're there to kind of facilitate things and help them know how to do things, but it's really their vision and what they want out of this organization. So once you have people, there's certain things that you have to do at the state and national level to become a chapter. So one of those things is, of course, paying affiliation dues. So this is money that you pay to national and state level to be officially registered in the system and your students are official members. So dues at the national level are $10. Our state dues are $5, so $15 total for each student and yourself to be affiliated. Now, what myself has done, a lot of chapter advisors, I know Kristen, is what we do is charge about $25 for our chapter dues. And then we send the $15 to the National HOSA office. And then the extra 10 we have banked, we use to help pay for our chapter t-shirts, just so everyone gets a shirt. So we're just like, hey, listen, dues are $25 and that includes a free t-shirt for the chapter. And then when you do events and you have things going on, you have a shirt that everyone can wear that looks the same. It doesn't have to be anything like exciting or crazy. It could be very simple for your first year, but then you have a little bit of money in the bank to purchase those shirts when you guys do stuff as a chapter. Missouri HOSA has a video step by step that I will show you that walks you through how to affiliate. The person that created this video is A1. I know her personally because it's me. But on the Missouri HOSA website, you will become very familiar with this website as we go along. It's just MissouriHOSA.org. We're going to show you a few things periodically in here, but for that affiliation step-by-step video, you're going to come up here to Advisor Zone and down to Training Video series. These are things that we have put together for new and seasoned chapter advisors, but there is this click here for membership affiliation video. It's a very quick rundown, step by step. You can go along with the video and know exactly how to affiliate your members. When we do, or myself, when they pay their dues, I send my students a Google form that includes like all the things I need to know to affiliate them. Like it's going to ask their name, first and last, the grade level that they're in, an email address, preferably not a school email. That's a little tricky. Sometimes it's blocked. You can also reach out to your school IT department. Just ask them not to block Missouri HOSA's emails. And it asks for, oh, I also asked for t-shirt size. So when we're doing t-shirts, I know what size to order for them. And if there's any emergency contact information I need to have for them for future reference. So if you send that form to them, have them fill it out. When you go to do this video and pay your dues, you have all the information that you need. You could probably watch the video before you create that form, just to make sure you have all the information on the form that you need. So
I was going to say too, especially for your seniors, make sure that they have a personal email, because if they do their school email, sometimes they get kicked out. Like my seniors that were going to ILC got kicked out of school system in June 5th, the day after they graduated. And so they would not have had availability to get into the HOSA site for some of the things that they had to do. So make sure that you definitely have that set up for them.
Yeah, and it's an email that we either when we go to our state conference or international conference or throughout the year periodically, HOSA will send things to students through that email. So it's important that it's one that they can actually access and use. So that would be very important. You also just really want to make sure the students know that it is student-led. So once you get to the point where you create an officer team and those things, and we have resources for that, it's their vision. So what do they want to accomplish? What do they want to do? How are we going to kick off our chapter and be involved? And I know I will tell you, and Kristen will tell you alike, don't try to do everything your first year. There's a lot. HOSA offers a lot, and it is amazing. Even as a seasoned advisor, sometimes I get overwhelmed by all the things that, you know, my students want to do. Don't do it all. Go to maybe one event, maybe, you know, participate in just a few things, pick a service project you want to work on, but please do not try or think that we expect you to do everything all the time, all year, because you will get very overwhelmed, and we don't want that. So always build and grow every year as you go. The other thing, speaking of money and affiliation, you had the $10 you used for your shirt, but if your chapter wants to do things, obviously things cost money. So whether they want to come to one of our conferences, or you guys want to, you know, do like the popsicle thing or some kind of recruitment event, maybe a picnic at the park, like you need money to pay for those things. So fundraising is a big part of a HOSA chapter, and making sure that you have the money raised so you can do things. We also have Be the Match, which is our service project, which we'll talk about more here in a little bit, but you know, raising money for them. So you can check with your school district. Every school district's different, to see if maybe they have money set aside to help pay for CTSOs and their activities. Some are very lucky in that aspect and their school district supports them. Some school districts would love to support them. The money's just not there. So your first step is to talk to your building administration or your school administration and just ask, is there money available for travel, for them to be registered for these events, for us to like go and do things or participate in things? And you may be surprised. Hopefully there's some money there for you. The one service that Kristen and I know we use is a organization called Custom Resource. They do brochure or cash and carry fundraisers for HOSA, Skills USA, and a couple different CTSOs. So you basically work with them and you pick the or fundraiser you want to participate in. Maybe it's popcorn or candles are pretty popular. And they help you, you know, with the brochure, you go and sell, the stuff gets delivered, and then you pay the invoice. So that's kind of a quick way for you to raise some money if you have, you know, quite a few members. they can raise a good amount of money. Usually get 40, maybe 50% profit, depending on which one that you do. And I know Kristen and I both have had some really good luck with them. They're really great to work with and very nice. You can also, I mean, there's a plethora of things you could do to raise money for your chapter or be the match. You can do like spirit days, pay $1 to like dress up, or your teachers might pay $1 to wear jeans, and maybe you can do that 50-50 at a football game or basketball game. Usually goes over pretty good. Running a concession stand, that just takes manpower. There's no out of pocket really. At least in our school district, but raising money is going to be really important so that when we have things, you guys have the ability to come and participate. And it's one thing that you can do kind of all year and then use that money in the future, because we're assuming you're starting out with no money in your HOSA account, right, Kristen?
Yes, for sure. Okay, so some of the things that I want to be able to go through is there's a whole bunch of information out there, like we said, both on the Missouri HOSA site and on National HOSA. So I'm going to pull up National HOSA's advisor piece right now. And then there you go. That's what I want to show you. When Becca mentioned that it's going to get overwhelming, this is all the stuff that is in this chapter advisor job description. And we know that we are all kind of strapped. We have a lot of things going on. So that's why we encourage you to talk to your district first and make sure that there is something there. Make sure that there's also possibly a stipend for you. I know through me, I get paid through our Perkins. They set up a spot for a CTSO specifically. So make sure that you're checking with that person in your district to see if there is a way that you get your stipend. But like I said, looking at all the things up here, there's a lot to consider when you're doing any type of organizational organization at your activity. I did not want to say club. But one of the first things I want to talk about is your program of work, because in order to actually have something that works as a chapter, there needs to be an outline. And that's one of the things that we'll do at our fall leadership conference is they'll bring your leadership team and they will start to work on what they want to accomplish over the year. The only negative piece of that is that our leadership conference isn't until October, and there's still August and September where some good things could be going on. So what I try to set up for August specifically is just the meet and greet and to get the new members and the recruitment and really focus on that. September usually gets taken up with getting the members back in for a normal chapter meeting. And then I also start my competition meetings, because I have those two things separate from each other, because not every member of HOSA wants to do the competition. We're trying to ease more people into that, but right now it's got to be about 50-50. But because homecoming comes up pretty quickly in either September or October, we try to do something else that would get some participation, like either a spirit day or participation in the homecoming parade, or make sure that when during the pep rally, when they say what organizations you're in, that you stand up and you shout for HOSA, things like that. The other piece of our program of work has to do with these events that were there. So again, I'm on the Missouri HOSA website, and you're looking at these three main events that we're going to have. Our first one, and our calendar is not updated as of this video, but it should get updated by the end of July. So the first one that we have is called FLC, Fall Leadership Conference. This is going to be at Stevens College, and this is something that's going to happen for this year is October 5th and 6th. It's an overnight trip where on the first day, they really focus on, our officer team focuses on getting kids involved and talking, and they all have separate little symposiums that they do. Then they just walk around and do those all day. Some of them had some games that they played. And then the next part of that is the second day, when you and your chapter officers can sit down and really start to establish this program of work. What do you want to do for the next coming months that will get your chapter ready? So that's fall leadership. It's kind of a nice little retreat. I guess you could think of it as an overnight to go with your kiddos. The next thing that really is going to fall in after that is this year we're going to be making a HOSA week for the entire state, so that hopefully they could participate, and that'll be that first week in November. And then we're going to end HOSA week with some regional events. And those regional events are going to take place in 3 places over the state. One of them is going to be in Kansas City, one of them will be in St. Louis, and one of them will be in Rolla, Missouri. Specifically, because I'm in St. Louis, Becca's in Rolla, and we have some other advisors that are going to be up in Kansas City. That's the reason why we picked those places. And this is really just generated to get more people in your area talking, networking, because really when we go to these huge conferences, it's all about the networking and seeing what other people have set up. So like Rolla, I know they did like a picnic and they kind of had their game set up there, the yard games. Kansas City, they actually went to the KC STEM Alliance and they had some presentations there. And then in St. Louis, we went to the Science Center, and the officers that were with me helped set up a scavenger hunt. And then we did the planetarium. So it was just kind of a cool things for kids that are like-minded in science that they wanted to get together and share something. That is scheduled right now for November 11th. Our next one is the competitive events workshop. This is going to be held in December, usually in Jeff City, where again, it's set up for our officers just to kind of talk about the different type of competitive events that we have, whether it's leadership or teamwork or skills events, something like that. They all take one and kind of break it down to show them. This is really set up for your newbies, those not your officer team that's probably already drunk the HOSA Kool-Aid. You want somebody that's going to be new. Like, for example, this girl right here, that's Bridget. She's mine. She was a freshman this year, and I wanted to get her involved. She's actually so involved now. She's going to be one of my officers, but it's really set up to get some new blood into that HOSA system and really start to turn over your membership as well. Currently, that is scheduled for December 8th. It is just a 1-day up and back. But again, it's pretty cool for the kids to get a little idea of what's going to happen at that competition, because that's something that they really don't know. I mean, every competition has a little spreadsheet that shows you what they're going to be asking you, how to prepare. But until you're actually in it or you talk to somebody that's done it, it can be a little bit overwhelming. Our big one then is our SLC State Leadership Conference. This is going to be in March. It's scheduled for March 25th and 26th this year. Lots of things go into this. So this is where you're really going to see a whole bunch of hub for you as an advisor on what you need to start looking for. We always have a keynote speaker. This will be held in Rolla at the high school because number one, it's free and we like that. And number two, we kind of have the run of both of the buildings that are there. This is where they will actually compete. So there's a couple of ways that you have to get into this. One of them is you have to qualify to actually be on site. And our qualification is going to be usually that 3rd week in January. Like if you have to take a test or something in order to advance to the next level, that's where you will do that, or upload things on Tallo because it's a portfolio. So those things will happen first. You'll get results by February 1st, and then you'll see what kids actually qualify to be on site. And this is where a lot more networking happens, because most of the chapters will choose to come to this event. If they don't do FLC or the competitive event workshop, they all try to come to this one because this is where you can qualify to go to international competition. So this year, our international competition was in Dallas, Texas. And again, it's a pretty large. We had, I think, 11,000 high school kids there that were all working together, competing against each other, participating in a lot of the events that they had. And again, it's just a really fun way to get yourself involved. So those are the big things that I would put on my program of work, that I know that those things are going to happen in those months, and put in how we're going to fundraise to get to those. Do we have to do some football fundraising, or do we have to do like I usually do my popcorn in November because I know it'll sell for Christmas presents. So like that's where we're going to put that to get as much money as possible. I think that's it. And then everything else just kind of folds down. Like we try to partner, like our blood drive, usually our student council does our blood drive, but we partner with them to do like the information piece of like, why should you be drinking juice after, or how is this blood, what actually happens when you do blood donation. So things like that. We look for Be the Match is our service project. So we'll do a couple of things throughout the year that'll focus on that. Usually we do like a miracle minute during a football or a basketball game. This year, our drama club, actually we had a couple kids that were in HOSA and in our drama production, and they decided that they wanted their charity of choice to be the Match. And so we did a miracle minute at every drama production that they had. And so we raised close to $1,700 just by doing like a minute of passing around a bucket and seeing what people could donate, which actually worked out pretty well. And then you can also get recognition at the international level for doing that too. Other than that, I'm going to reiterate what Becca said. Don't do it all your first year. When I started, I think I literally signed us up as a membership. And that's where I started. The next year, I think we looked at like the competition and saw like the test. There's knowledge tests, which they literally get a book, they study, they take a test. That's how we participated in our state leadership conference the first year. When we went, we're like, oh, these are the different things. Because I was kind of like on my own. I didn't have a partner advisor to really talk to. When we went, that's when I started seeing what other schools were doing and how they were doing it. And then we slowly started getting some more involvement. So it's a really neat organization. It's like 100% student led. Our international council is awesome. They really are focusing on getting kids the best that they can do. But yeah, I think it's a pretty awesome thing. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, I would say as an advisor, like we said, don't do it all your first year. If you want to focus on bringing kids to the SLC, because that's our biggest event, and there's a lot of really good like educational symposiums and things that they can do to kind of learn to incorporate next year. Maybe just as an advisor, you can come to FLC without students and get a sub for your class. And come, Kristen and I always do a training for advisors on that Thursday. You can come, you can see what it's like, kind of drink the Kool-Aid yourself, as Kristen says. And if you can't stay both days, maybe just come on that Thursday and kind of check things out, see what students are doing, see the training that Kristen and I are going to have for you on how to get more involved chapters and meet other advisors and kind of learn from them and grow. And then, work on getting students to come to the state leadership conference that's held in March. That gives you a little bit more time for fundraising, get them to see what competitions they'd like to be involved in and do it that way.
Sorry, my dog's in the background. Do you want to show them the resources that we have up there?
Absolutely. Let me share my screen again. So again, MissouriHOSA.org has a lot of really good information for you. Across the top, you can see the variety of different tabs. There's one specifically for students. So if your students are like, hey, how do we do this? Or what about SLC? Or, scholarships. Missouri HOSA always does some scholarships every year for members, or the service project, HOSA Week. Send them there. You guys want to go to Advisor Zone, and again, the training video series has the additional videos that Kristen and I have made, and some other advisors as far as how to register for a conference. So if you are bringing students to that SLC, or if you decide to come to FLC, how do you register them to come? So that's step by step. The affiliation membership, make sure you affiliate. You are not actually a member unless you go in and affiliate and pay the money, and it talks you through step by step how to do that. There is a SLC advisor prep Zoom video here at the bottom that we made last year prior to the SLC. We did a Zoom call with a bunch of advisors and kind of answered their questions about what to expect at SLC. So if you are considering that as your one event you come to, things will change a little bit this coming year, but the majority of that information will still be good for you. And then there's also a HOSA Advisor Facebook group that's really, really awesome that Kristen and I have. So if you're on Facebook, join our Missouri HOSA Advisor Facebook group down here. And anytime you have a question, there is a plethora of advisors that are more than willing to jump in and give you their feedback. Kristen and I also are always here for you. We'll make sure that you have our information. Rachel Fisher, our state advisor, also amazing. Anytime you have a question, you can email one of the three of us and we will let you know kind of the best thing or give you advice, suggestions, things like that. As far as recruitment videos, back to the original thing that I started with was how do you get members? Under that same tab, Advisor Zone, there is recruitment videos available to you that you could play. Maybe if you're not one that likes to public speak, I know it's funny, I'm a teacher, I hate public speaking. You might just play a recruitment video in the A&P classes, or have it playing at your freshman orientation or what have you. There are testimonials. Usually the like recap videos for our different conferences are really fun and kind of engaging and hyping them up. So that might get someone excited, seeing some things that they'll be able to do in the future with HOSA. But I would strongly suggest coming to the recruitment video or the training video series tabs here on the Missouri HOSA website and use this to your advantage.
Okay, well, we are getting to the end of our Zoom time, so we want to be able to wrap this up. But like we said, join the Facebook advisor group. There's so many people on there that'll answer your question. Obviously, like Rachel Fisher, she is available, but she's got a lot of other things that are on her plate. So she might not get to you. She might not get to you right away, but she will. Sometimes it's easier for Becca and I to jump in and just say, hey, this is your easy question answered, instead of waiting for, an official email to come back from Rachel. We're here to help. Obviously, like I'm in St. Louis, Becca's in Rolla. There's so many people in that Facebook group that can shout out any answers to you that you might need. But we're excited that you're here. We're excited that you're spreading Missouri HOSA, and we're excited to see you soon at one of our events.
That's right. And if, again, like she said, if you need anything, please reach out. We are here for you guys. And the state officer team also like to do chapter visits. So if you ever have a time where you would like one of them to come to your chapter and maybe talk to some student members about opportunities or ways to get involved, you can also reach out to Rachel Fisher and set that up. We have officers in a lot of different areas, so they'll be able to hopefully either come or maybe set up a Zoom with you to kind of help you and your students just know where to start. It's a lot, but I promise you at the end, it is 1000% worth it, especially when you see your students succeeding, finding their passion for the healthcare and leadership. It is an amazing organization, and we are excited you're here, and we are here for you, and enjoy the year ahead because it's going to be a fun ride.
Thank you, guys.